If you spend a lot of time on social media, it's easy to think that the world revolves around what people say on the internet. Except these days, it kind of does. With ex-owner Elon Musk taking his share of the credit for Donald Trump's election and now meddling in international affairs, suddenly it actually matters what people say on the internet. But that's had an interesting consequence, because we're now seeing something that at one time felt impossible. Governments are building border walls around social media. Here we'll find out how we've got to this point and, crucially, what you can do about it. Now, you'll already be familiar with the recent story involving TikTok. The app went dark across the US before Donald Trump intervened the day before his inauguration. This might seem like a trivial event on the grand scheme of things, but it's actually a very significant moment in the story of social media, and this chapter began in 2020. In 2020, politicians started to wonder if TikTok was spying on its users. Now, social media giants selling our data is all part of the business model, but TikTok was different because this app originated in China. China, of course, is the world's second largest economy and the United States' main economic rival. But TikTok is privately owned by a company called ByteDance. It's certainly not owned by the Chinese state, at least not officially. You see, in 2017, the Chinese government introduced a new law called the National Intelligence Law. A key part of it reads, all organisations and citizens shall support, assist and cooperate with national intelligence efforts in accordance with law and shall protect national intelligence work secrets they are aware of. It's been interpreted as a license for the Chinese state to seize any and all data it wants from any company under its jurisdiction. Now, when the law was introduced, TikTok was very new and still flying under the radar. It was just a niche app that the kids of the day were downloading. But by 2020, TikTok was massive, and the US government got worried. By this time, TikTok had been downloaded 200 million times, with users posting funny dances, recipes, more cat videos, but also political content and personal content. TikTok's database suddenly became a treasure trove of the feelings, woes and desires of America's youth, as clear a profile as anyone could ever wish for. And its headquarters was based thousands of miles away under the jurisdiction of China and its national intelligence law. Well, technically the headquarters of the parent company ByteDance are in China, but that's just a technicality. But the question that the US policymakers had to consider was, would China ever use its laws to obtain TikTok's data? And the conclusion they came to was a resounding yes. So President Trump signed an executive order that would effectively ban TikTok from the US in 45 days. But that order was overturned by a federal judge, and shortly after, Trump's first term was over. The Biden administration allowed TikTok to continue in the US while it assessed the security risks. But in April 2024, the Supreme Court upheld a new act called the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. The act made it law that TikTok must sell its American arm to a US company or be banned. And just under a year later, TikTok still wasn't sold, so it was banned, only for Donald Trump to unban it by promising to overturn the Supreme Court with an executive order. The question is, why has President Trump changed his mind on TikTok? Well, a cynic might say that Trump recognizes that the app is great for campaigning, but Trump himself has said that he's only postponing the implementation of the Supreme Court's ruling so that he can make a deal. TikTok will be a great marquee item in any future trade deal with China. So it might look like the TikTok saga is over, but it isn't. The issue of a US ban will come round again because the genie is well out of the bottle. India banned TikTok for national security reasons way back in 2020. In 2024, Australia introduced a law banning all under 16s from accessing most social media sites. Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and X will be affected, but messaging platforms like Discord and WhatsApp are expected to be exempt, as well as YouTube. But what's behind it? Well, as social media users, we all understand the basic risks. It can be detrimental to your mental health. You are at risk of being exposed to distressing content. The apps can be addictive, and any of us can be the victim of cyberbullying or worse. And in recent years, Australia has had its share of tragic events. These have fueled Communication Minister Michelle Rowland to push through with a bill banning these sites for under 16s. Now, you might be wondering why Australia is doing this, and it's the wrong question, because Australia is just the country doing it first. Norway is planning to ban social media for under 15s. France is poised to trial a ban on children having smartphones, with a view to roll it out nationwide. And in the UK, the previous government passed the Online Safety Act, designed to protect children, with Ofcom having the power to fine senior management of companies if they don't obey the new rules. And Britain's New Technology Secretary, Peter Kyle, said an Australian-style social media ban for all under 16s was on the table. What we're seeing here is a precedent. Governments are building walls around social media en masse. But why is all of this happening now? Especially given the negative impacts of social media have been known, if not fully understood, for a while now. Well, just as the world got used to the status quo, the landscape was changed by this man, Elon Musk. Musk had been one of the most followed accounts on Twitter for some years, but in 2022, he started expressing concerns that the platform wasn't protecting free speech. This was in the wake of several controversies he had had over Twitter, such as that time he targeted a diver who rescued the trapped Thai schoolchildren. He called him Pedo Guy. After Musk acquired the platform, he started making big changes. He reversed the decision to ban Donald Trump for his role in January the 6th. He went on to reverse bans of several controversial figures, including the misogynist Andrew Tate and the far-right activist Tommy Robinson. Since 2022, X has seen an increase in posts with racial slurs, conspiracy theories, and has overall become a more permissive environment. It appears that the changes at X have made some users open accounts elsewhere, most notably on Blue Sky, which gained 1 million new users in October 2024. It's said anecdotally that Blue Sky users lean to the political left and X users to the right, but there's been no good studies on that yet. But let's look back at Musk. In 2024, he became Trump's most prominent supporter and embraced what could be called a MAGA persona. Musk has taken a hard line on issues such as immigration and social justice, and it seems he's starting a precedent of his own, because in January 2025, Mark Zuckerberg declared that he would scrap fact-checkers on Facebook to ensure free speech, and he rolled back DEI initiatives in company hiring. Both these decisions would appeal to Musk and Trump. The move means that more fake news is likely to appear on the platform, which might encourage some governments to move further and faster on laws to police such platforms. So we're in an era of change, a kind of social media 2.0. We're heading towards a new normal, where it's not just about how platforms are run, but how governments hold them accountable. The United States is entering an era of free speech-ism, whereas other countries are tightening regulation. For you, whether you're into cat videos, baking hacks, or political deep dives, you can carry on just fine. Just maybe don't fall too in love with your favourite app. And if you want to know how Meta's rollback of DEI fits into this bigger picture, check out this video.